Here's what happened, guys. We used to hear a lot about how your word is your bond, and a man is only as good as his word. But in recent years, we've heard this less and less, and there has become a new normal in our society, in our country, where we can just not honor our word, and that's okay. Life happens. It's so overwhelming out there. And what happens is that decreases the trust that we have with each other. And as a society, that can go and lead towards a really bad place for our country. When we are consistent in honoring our word, we build trust. That could be in relationships, that could be in business deals, that could be with the people that we are serving through our products and services as small business owners. And what happens is when we have a society of that, where we are honoring our word and building trust, that makes it a lot easier to be able to improve the quality of life of the people in that society. For Americans to be able to thrive as a country moving forward, because we're experiencing a lot of pain and a lot of chaos that is out there. And so I want to share with you 3 phases to remember when you are creating or when you are building this habit of honoring your word, and some things to think about as you're preparing, because nobody's perfect. We all fall short to the glory of God, but that does not make it where we can just accept that this is going to be the new reality and the new standard for our society, but we can actually focus on continuing to get better at this habit and continuing to improve and realize we have so much more potential. So welcome back to the show. Let's get into it for today. What we got to bring up here is the big $39 trillion mess. We got to be aware of the reality that we live in, and that is the U.S. national debt being over $39 trillion. And this is just one example of the way that younger people's future and livelihood have been intergenerationally stolen from them. And another way is through this hidden tax of inflation, where each generation, as we go through each generation, the purchasing power of the dollar decreases. And so a dollar today is worth roughly half the value of a dollar back in 2000. And I was born before 2000, and to notice that big of a difference, that gets me really concerned. And we got to stop just letting this happen. As small business owners, we have to unite. I believe America's future leaders are small business owners. The amount of times I've heard a politician say the system's corrupt, for all these other politicians, we got to drain the swamp. It reminds me then of, well, small business owners are America's future leaders. Hardworking, decent Americans that want to improve their quality of life for themselves and their family and their community, genuinely care about the people that they are serving through their products and services, and genuinely care about this country's future and wanting to improve the quality of life for Americans. That is a group that gets me really excited for the future and to make America's future a small business renaissance, and the ripple effect that can have within our society. And again, you get the compilation of that and just the massive mismanagement when it comes to fiscal policy and how hasn't been a balanced budget on the federal level for a very long time. We know, and we're waking up to this reality. We know that change can happen, but people have to courageously step up, seek out the truth, communicate that truth, and say enough's enough, and we got to make a change here. And we got to do it by leading by example and setting the tone when it comes to the standard of honoring our word. So what I want to get into is the first phase to remember in the 3 phases of habit formation, building a new habit, and that is awkward. So the awkward phase. So you have the awkward phase. I'm going to show them all 3 here. Angry phase, autopilot phase. Okay, so all 3 here. Let's go back to the awkward phase. At the beginning with building a habit, it will be awkward. That's a reality. It's not just going to be really exciting and it's going to be super easy for you to create a habit. It takes repetition and time. I go back to when I think of coming back to my faith of Christianity. Before that, I always thought, oh, it's just my body not used to this. Now I realize it's the demons that are just creating havoc and causing us to stay in inconsistency with habits that are really hurting us. And one habit that can really hurt us is when we are not honoring our word. So with it being awkward, it's giving yourself grace, but then not making that an excuse to not keep showing up the next day and being able to make sure that that habit is visible for you. When you put a commitment out there, you recognize that you're going to honor this commitment. And so a way to make it easier for you to get started is to not make it such a big commitment. You don't have to go so big, because as you start small and create small wins, the small wins lead to the big wins. And so start small for the commitment. If it's to your customers, clients, to your vendors, and then be able to build that out over time, and over deliver even, because then that can build lasting trust within the relationships for your business, and that can support you and your business for the long term, and to be able to handle the chaos that is happening in our country. So starting small, really helpful. And it does not mean you're going to stay there either. There can be massive change that can happen in months to even less than a year to multiple years. Everyone's timeline can be different for how they move forward with getting through these three phases, but where you start isn't going to be where you end up, and it's important to remember that. Then with the angry phase, this is the next one that can come up. So with the angry phase, I have had this moment where I've dropped the ball. I said I was going to show up for a podcast interview. I remember when I was doing interviews here for the show, I had a guest that came on, and I completely forgot about the time, and I left them hanging in that room. And I saw the email, and I remember just sitting down and being like, "Oh no, like, come on." And in those moments, I can get angry with myself that there was anger and frustration. But with the angry phase, it happens. And this can happen when you started to work on a habit for a few days. You can start to feel angry. There can be moments of the demons coming out and trying to stop your progress. And this is where you can have a situation like that where you just go, "Oh, come on. Like, really? This happened to me today? Seriously?" And with that, we all experienced it before. The best you can do in that is to immediately immediately recognize that a mistake was made, communicate that clearly, and be truthful, and honestly express what happened, and the potential of being able to move forward. And that's what I did in the email. I was able to do that, able to at least let him know what had happened. Ended up not having the interview. I accepted that. But at least being as best you can to be respectful of other people's time and communicate what happened is really important, and doing that as soon as possible. And somehow we've gotten away from realizing that. But you're respecting the other person's time. And even if you may not work with them again, there's a respect, there's a level of respect there for the other person, and moving forward, that can help you to continue to stay consistent, is owning up to your mistakes and communicating that. Then after a certain period of time, this could be weeks, months, years, you get into then the autopilot phase. And autopilot phase, you can think about as a habit, brushing your teeth, or something that you just don't even think about that you do every day. Brushing your teeth is the best example that I use here. But it can get to that point with any new habit that you're building. You can get to this point where it becomes autopilot. It just takes time. And putting in the repetitions, being able to fight back against these demons, and eventually being able to make this the new standard for your life. And does that mean you're going to have it happen every single day? Well, no, it could be one every 6 months where you mess up and make a mistake, and it goes back to own up to that mistake as fast as possible. But you can start to notice your baseline increasing for the amount of days you're consistent, and amount of commitments you've made. You're honoring your word. And as you look back on your baseline of where you started to where you are now, that can help to reinforce the win, to continue to celebrate that win, so that you keep moving forward with the momentum. But with the autopilot phase, that is the last of the three phases. And so with each habit, you're going to experience those three with your body. For emotions that can come up, it can feel awkward. It can, then you can feel angry, and then you'll feel it's autopilot. You're not even really thinking about it, and at times that can be weird. You're like, wait, like I'm just honoring my commitments, honoring my word, and following through. And that's where looking back at your baseline from where you started can give you a lot of gratitude for the progress you made and help you during the really tough times. And with any new event that happens in your life, if that could be a death of a family member, it could be a business deal that completely goes sideways, it could be a war that breaks out, an economy, a depression that happens in the economy. But there are things that can happen that can create a lot of chaos. And so when those moments happen, recognizing that this habit may fall back down the ladder, may go back down to the angry phase, to the awkward phase. But again, in those moments, there's realizing wherever you're at is not permanent. You got to just continue to move forward and put in those reps over time to be able to get back up to the autopilot phase. But just because it's gotten to the autopilot phase doesn't mean it's going to stay there. With brushing your teeth, you may not have any toothpaste around, so you may just be brushing without toothpaste for a while, or you may not have a toothbrush at all for a few days. Like that, those things do happen, and in those moments, it's to realize this doesn't have to be your new normal, and that you can actually move forward and continue to improve and be able to continue to raise the baseline for yourself with this habit. But honoring your word is such a powerful skill set to have. This helps in so many areas of building discipline for your life. And then when you are also building trust in your relationships, this is where amazing things can then unfold for your appreciation for the life that you're living. Amazing things can unfold in the areas of discipline. If that could be discipline focusing on your health, to focusing on getting certain work tasks done in your business so you can keep moving forward to the vision that you have for this business, or just communication, making sure that you're staying on top of your communication with the people in your business, if that's team members to clients to vendors. This habit then builds massive benefit ripple effect in other areas of your life. And we absolutely need more of this in our country. We need more Americans leading by example and stepping up and realizing that you can absolutely honor your word and you can do this consistently, and you do not have to make excuses for yourself. Mistakes are going to happen. Just move on from the mistakes. Honor that, accept that happened, own up to it, and make sure where you can to immediately respond back to people to share that you made a mistake, and then just move on and keep going. And this is what we need to continue to celebrate more in our country, and to continue to preserve what is great about our country, which is discipline, honoring our word, knowing that our word, we're as a man, you're only as good as your word. Like honoring how powerful the word is, and honoring our commitments that we make to other people as well as best we can is such a powerful skill set that we cannot forget moving forward. So if you're a business owner who wants to connect with other business owners that care about this country in person, you can join us for a Future Fest in Charleston, South Carolina. It is happening on January 14th and 15th, 2027. And at this event, I'm really excited for business owners to come together. The plan is to expect over 300 small businesses, business owners across industries and across the country coming together to shape the future. And we need to focus on the future and making America's future a small business renaissance. Because as I said, in my opinion, America's future leaders are small business owners. And one way we can really get people to rally behind this movement is to lead by example. I mean, that an individual level, and it goes back to honoring our word. And each day is a new day to step up and be able to do that. So I'm excited for that event, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow.